Okay, that will be a breaker. I blew a breaker. I'll be right back. Hey, I'm working on a trailer today. I'm not working on anything fun and exciting, so we'll see how this video does. The last two have not done real well, and I'm just gonna tell you. Well, I don't even need to tell you. You can just see the views on the last two. Thank you to those of you who are faithful viewers and watchers of my channel. I do appreciate you big time. But here's what. Well, no, but I do appreciate you. Today, I'm working on my son-in-law's trailer. My daughter and my son-in-law are fixing to take a road trip and move my son-in-law's mom, and so he bought this tire for his trailer. This is the trailer. You guys have seen me work on this trailer before. We used it for a Christmas parade, and I decked it out for for a Christmas parade, and did a video on it for that. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come up with a mount for that spare tire so that he doesn't have to like put that tire in his truck, or however that looks for this trailer. The trailer always has the spare with it, and so I got this bar here, and I was honestly just going to mess with this thing and not do any recording, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because this is what I'm doing. So I set this thing on here, and I set it on here, figured where, hopefully you guys can see what I'm looking at here. I measured, it was 19 and a half. I got marks on here too. But I scribed the bottom on both sides. I got the distance right, 19 and a half, 19 and a half. My plan is to get this in here, weld it on like that so it provides support, so that the tire will sit flat right here. And then I have some angle I'm going to weld across this top, and then get a pipe that comes up for bolts, lug studs to bolt that thing down right there. Anyway, that's my plan. So I'm gonna cut this. You can see my marks there. I'm gonna cut it and get this ready, and then I'll weld this in place. And then once I have that welded in place, I'll show you why I want to do that, because when I set this tire on here, hopefully you can get you guys. Okay, so see, there's just not real good. So if I get something on here where I have it so it bolts on, then I'm going to bolt down, but there's still going to be a vibration. So I want to get a support across here. It's not as far back as I'd like. I forget where that line is, but well, it's 19 and a half inches, so let's look at that. So it's 19 and a half, so it's not even, I'm rethinking that, because that doesn't even, now that I'm looking at it, I need it further back than that. I needed it like 12 inches. I need it back there. So I'm glad I didn't cut that yet. I need to see if I've got something longer. Let me go back to my scrap. I got this piece of tube that I can use to come up off the center of, because really all I got to do at the center is I got to have something that'll hold it down, you know, support it down. I thought about putting it on the side, you know, so it was stood up on the side of the trailer. But the problem with that is you got to make sure that it's good and strong, because it'll get vibrations like this way, and I don't want it to come apart, which, you know, something like that on a trailer is going to be vibrating and shaking and doing all kinds of things. The chances are of something coming apart is not super slim. So, but this will be better, because then it'll have the weight of the tire will be on the frame of the trailer. It won't be shaking around, and so it'll get, you know, just get sucked down onto that frame. So hopefully that'll do good. Square that off. I'm also going to run across like this. I'm going to go 1.5 inches. Same difference. 1.5 inches. And cut that off. Okay, let me get that cut, and then we'll see if it fits good, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to clean this up and then get this ready to, I'm going to file that down a little bit in this one too. Get it ready to stick on there. Test it. That other side has kind of a rounded edge. I'm not going to round it that far, but I'm going to just round off this one edge. I don't think I'll do both of them, but just so that they kind of match, I guess. Okay, have a look at that and see. Well, it's gonna be closer than 12.5, I think. There's 11.75, 11.75. It's a little more than 3/4 on that side. That is pretty close. Okay, so that's that. That's it. So I will mark this and then grind down, get this. I don't know if this is paint or powder coat. Looks like paint, right? It's chipped off. Clean that up so that I can weld that on there. I think that's pretty sturdy. That's gonna be plenty sturdy. And then, like I said, when I sit this on here, and then I got this other one, and I'll do the same thing. This one's bent. Maybe I'll find another one. I got a lot of this stuff. You know, who doesn't have a whole lot of leftover bed frames? It's good though. It's good for stuff like this. I mean, Most of this trailer is made out of angle iron. So anyway, clean that up. Do the same thing in the middle so that I can run something up into this hub hole. And okay. Let's see. Scribe that. Scribe that. There and there and on there. Okay. I'm not totally used to the mics yet, so bought these little sleeves that from the Harbor Freight. Keeps you from feeling like you got a nasty sunburn every time you weld. And I got gloves, which I haven't had welding gloves in a long time. And so, yeah, I stepped into the kind of a safety realm. Not used to that, but it works pretty good. Like every time I put the mic on, I start burping. Not every time, but it seems to help. Man, that's cooked in there nice. Okay, one thing's for sure is that is not going anywhere anytime soon. Okay, so I gotta figure out afterwards whether or not I want like face down or bottom down. It's back spacing in the back is more than in the front. So to not have as much extension to try to get up to it, I was going to put the face down like that. Okay. Yeah, if that's bolted on, that's going to be nice. So you get that one figured. At this point, I have to get the tire on there, so it's not like what would be center. So my idea is that I'm going to 2 lug studs basically, at these 2 points. So when I had this on the trailer, that bar is right underneath this line, and then I'll bring extensions up another piece with 2 lug studs welded into it, and then that can go on like that, or maybe I'll do a plate that goes on top and then the lug nut, something like that. So that's what I'm going to work on next. Is I'm going to get this tire stuck on there. I'm going to measure that distance from this crossbar up to it, cut a couple of pieces, and I'll show you what I have planned for that. Today, this video is going to be a good test of background noise for me. We've already seen that the background noise is reduced dramatically with this microphone. But like today it's windy. The door of my little shop likes to shake in the wind because they're just homemade plywood and 2x4 doors on hinges. Anyway, and so there's a lot of background noise is what I'm saying, and it'll be interesting to see how much of that is you can hear. Hopefully not a lot. So here's this piece again. It's that same piece that I was going to start to use. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to, where did it go? There was another piece. I think I asked myself, here it is. I asked myself like somebody came in here and took it, like it wasn't me. So this is the piece I'm going to cut to, so the two of these that rise up, that come up off that angle, and then this will sit on top of them. It'll be shorter, you know, for the wheel, just long enough for a lug stud and a lug stud to come up through these, and that'll be the mounting point. And then so basically what I did is I had an axle out here, and I hammered the studs out. So I will drill a hole in this angle iron, get these studs in, and then to weld the back side of them so that they're not going to obviously fall out. So basically what I'm saying is I'm not going to set them on here like this and then weld them on, because then, you know, if that weld fails and there goes your spare, I'm going to put a hole through the hole, weld the back side of that. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Anyway, well, I'll, you know, try to get you guys involved in as much of that as possible. One hand. So get this tire on here. I'm looking to try to get as close to center as possible with this direction. But you can see, hopefully you can see down in there the way I got this figured. There's the bar. Okay. So I need this measurement. Burping again. It's like every time I start the camera. Okay. And I think I can have some leeway, so I think it looks like it's what is that? 13/16 or 11/16. But I think we'll go half. That'll give us plenty of play. So we got 3.5 inches. So I need those risers to be 3.5 inches. And so I'll cut those. Cut those 3.5 inches. This stock, this 4x4 is 1.25 inches, and this the same as that angle that's out there. This angle right here that I just measured is 1.5 inches, but the angle that is under that tire right now is 1.25 inches. It's a little smaller. I don't know if you guys noticed that. The one in the back that's like supporting the tire is like 1.5 inches. It's thicker or wider, I guess. Yeah, it's 1.5 inches. Okay. So the next thing that I need to know will be this distance here, and looks like I could get away with 5.5. Let's 5.5. I think might be. I don't want to have it so that when you set this on here, every time it gouges the wheel, you know. So, gosh, I think 5.25 is going to be the number. Or maybe I go 5.5 and then I radius this edge, you know? Yeah, I'll go 5.5. I'll keep the angled section on this side and I'll radius that. Yeah, that's what we'll do. 5.5. 5.5 is the final answer. This piece I'll cut 5.5. This piece, I'm gonna get 2 of them at 3.5. And this 5.5 piece will get 2 holes drilled into it to accept these. And weld everything together. I got to thinking about this before I cut this one piece, and there's this shaft before threads, and if I go 3.5 inches on that rise, then by the time I put this in like this, I'm not going to be able to suck that tire down tight because I'm going to bottom out on my nut. So right here I got about 1/2 inch. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to actually go about 2 3/4 on that pipe. Okay, so 2 3/4 is the number that I'm going to do, and that allows me to have about 3/4 of an inch. Let me see. Trying to refigure this. My wife, my daughter, and my granddaughter just came over to the shop, so I stopped for a second to talk to them. So now I'm trying to rethink what I was just discussing. I have a 1/2 inch there. If I take the 1/2 inch off, that's the 3.5. Then that just gets me down to where I'm almost bottoming out. And what I want with that is when you tighten that up, I want it to kind of suck the tire down onto the frame so that, you know, it pulls the rubber down on. Because if it doesn't, then that tire will sit there and still do some shaking, and that it'll make noise from that rubber and wear, and any kind of movement that's able to get is gonna translate into fatigue for the welds and things like that. So I figure if I go 2 3/4, then I'm 3/4 of an inch shy of what I originally wanted to be, and these lug nuts will stick up out of the wheel, and when you tighten that thing down, it's going to suck that tire, the sidewall of that tire, down onto that frame, in theory. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be better than, you know, bottoming out and not having any more pull. So that's what I'm going to do. Cut these at 2 3/4, 2 of them. Still going to cut that one at the 5.5. Okay, so now I just want to bring you guys back and show you. Okay, I changed my plans. If this thing's even cooled off at all, not really. Okay, here's what I got so far. Oh, that battery's about to die. Let me change out the battery and then I'll show you this. And then I'm about ready to weld this onto that bar. I've marked out where, ooh, that thing is still very hot. So I got this thing welded together. Got that welded up. These are welded in from this back side, and then these are over top welded. So, and then I'm just going to weld that to that bracket, that smaller cross bracket, and then that should bolt on. So I just got to clean up the spots where this is going to weld real quick, and then I'm going to get this welded on, and then we'll try putting the tire on, see how that worked out. So, all right, let's try it. Let's do that. All right, let's try to weld this up, see what happens. I guess not try, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Weld it up. The wind's blowing and the sun's going down. Well, it's not down, but it's gone behind the clouds and it's thinking about going down. We're gonna put that thing out. There it is. I got a couple of marks on the side here where I want to weld that on, so I didn't totally lose track of where. Oh man. Okay, that will be a breaker. I blew a breaker. I'll be right back. Let's try this again. Hey, I don't like the, kind of has a wiggle to it. I thought about maybe something to get like a piece of strap that went from there to here. Maybe that would miss the tire. I'll have to get the tire on there and see for sure. But I mean, you can, well, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a little bit of wiggle. But once the tire's sitting on there, I don't think that's going to be a, I don't think that's going to be a problem. But we're about to find out. I like those sleeves. If they were, you know, if it was a jacket, that'd be better. But sleeves, that's pretty cool. I've welded for so long with nothing, you know, and burn holes in my shirts and just get done welding and feel like I've been sunburnt, you know. But I saw those at Harbor Freight and I was like, hey, you're coming with me. But I'm gonna try this on. Oh, wrong side. This way. Oh man. Here it is. Here's the, I'll get the lug nuts, but it's, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I don't know if you can see that I'm not quite all the way down, so it's gonna sit right, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna touch the wheel, which is good because I put this on backwards from what I originally wanted it this way, so that this angle iron, that angle piece was on this front side, but I forgot to check that and I welded it on, so it's on there, and that's the way it goes. And there you guys, that one just got tight. I'll have to get a get a wrench socket or whatever. Brought a 7/8 just in case. Yeah, 13. Let me put this down. Okay. So I'm gonna have to take this off in a second, but I'm just gonna see how tight I can get this thing onto the. That's feeling pretty tight. That is not gonna go anywhere. Honestly, that's probably about it right there. Yeah, that is on there. That's cool. So the only thing I have left to do now with that is pull it off, throw some primer on there, some black paint, so it doesn't look oddball for the trip. And I want to see if that little jack, in fact, I'll just do that real quick. Little pump jack that I don't know if it'll fit in here. I think a guy could probably get that in there somehow so that it's, and then strap it on. That'd be a good place to store it anyway for his trip, just so that he doesn't have to dig it out. That's the issue with a lot of spare tire situations. You gotta unload your car. If you go on a trip and you got a spare tire in the trunk, you gotta unload the trunk, or like a minivan, you gotta unload the minivan. All your junk you gotta pull out and put it on the side of the road to get to your spare tire. And so he told me he was gonna get this spare tire for this trailer, which is really, really good idea. And yesterday I packed the bearings on the hubs, make sure it's good and greased up. And when he told me that, I thought, well, maybe I could figure out a way to come up with a spare tire mount on that trailer so that you don't have it, sitting in the back of a pickup, and then load your stuff on it. All that. I just said all that. Having to unload everything and just to get to a spare tire. This way, it's right on the tug, and it goes with the trailer everywhere the trailer goes. I borrow this trailer quite a bit, and so this, the spare tire will be there. Not the jack, obviously, but most cases, if whatever you're driving will have a jack. But so anyway, that's that. I'm gonna throw some paint on that and then get a picture of it for you guys. And I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna bother with like a strap, like a brace to hold that. I think it probably would help, but I think the wheel, literally, with it sucked down to the frame, the wheel is literally becoming that brace, right? I mean, so to speak. If the tire wasn't on there and a guy was running that trailer with the tire off of there, then it would probably be, it'd be wiggly, and then maybe a brace would be good then. But with the tire on, it should be fine. So with that said, so basically I'm just gonna throw a picture of that, get a picture of that for a thumbnail, and wrap this up and call this a video, get this put out so you guys can enjoy it, watch it. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing, share it, comment, all those things help. And as usual, remember that Jesus loves you, and until next time, have a blessed week, and thanks for watching. Do appreciate it.